The Carolina Panthers might have lost their jewel, but they have gotten their swagger back on defense, at least early on in training camp. Defense winning the day early on. Demani Richardson even had an interception on Bryce Young. A guy that needs to step up in the secondary. We need plays from another safety alongside Trevon Moehrig. It's important. But the story of the week so far has been Princely Umanmielen rushing the passer, showing off that bend. That's what they say. They talk about this guy like he is a girl standing behind velvet ropes at a nightclub, like my friends were holding each other back. Baby got so much bend. Look at her back there. Baby got bend. I say, looking at the edge rusher behind the velvet ropes. That's how they're talking about him. He's flashy. He's got a spin move even. He's spinning around. And he did so today, but Bryce Young, the Panthers quarterback, did state that Princely Umanmielen might have gone a little too far, and that seems to be the word down there in Carolina. Here's the clip of Bryce Young talking about the final play of the Panthers practice on Wednesday.
You guys have to have a conversation after that one?
I didn't have to say anything, but that's competition. It's football. Obviously, there's some etiquette stuff in football, but young guy getting after his first day out here in training camp. And we want to see those plays on Sundays. He's a competitor. We're all competitors. We want to be getting each other better. So, obviously we want to take care of each other, practice and all that, but I love what he's doing. I love what he stands for. He's on my team at the end of the day. So seeing him do stuff like that is great.
Panthers quarterback reminding the edge rusher of what is otherwise considered etiquette, especially during training camp. Respect the red shirt, Princely. Respect it. That's the quarterback. Can't be nicking him on his shoulder, especially if it's a throwing shoulder. Come on. What are you doing? But quite frankly, I love it. I love it. Because I did a whole segment. I wrote it out over the weekend, and I wanted to share it with you in its entirety. But I didn't want to bore you with it. Because a lot of it was talking about Tetairoa McMillan and these videos he's posting on YouTube. Tetairoa McMillan is the Carolina Panthers, Mr. Beast. He's Mr. Yeast. He's going to give his rookie contract to anyone who can help cure the Panthers locker room of hand, foot, and mouth disease. Because he's posting all over YouTube now. And the video was of the Panthers wide receivers gathering together at a lake in freaking Minnesota. I go, this is summer vacation? Really? Like, look at Steph Diggs in New England. That guy's going to the Caribbean with big booty model influencers, and people are sniffing powders off toilet seats. And I'm not saying we need a wet, hot American summer. We need, we don't need overdrive, but we're going to go to church camp in Minnesota, lights out at 7 o'clock with the Thielens. This is our flashy wide receiver room's idea of a freaking summer vacation. Come on, we need a little more buzz than that. And I found it funny. Panthers.com put the video, the clip of Tetairoa McMillan's video out right before the start of training camp. And they go, they are, you know when the kids come back at 2 a.m.? If you're a high schooler listening or you have high schoolers as children, you walk back in, it's 2 a.m, you're like, do not want to wake the parents. You just pray the smell of booze doesn't make its way into Mama and Papa Bear's room. That's sort of how the Panthers were posting this video. It's like, oh, look at our receivers. They're not Steph Diggs handing around bags of powder in the Caribbean. They're reading Bibles, lights out at 7 o'clock. If we hear any movement after 8, we're going to come in and break the door down. Panthers.com wants you to see that. It's clean, but I said it's too clean. It's too clean. And that's why I'm so pumped up from the first play of Panthers training camp that really went viral. This is the play that everyone's talking about this week, the week of July 23rd, where Princely Umanmielen nicked Bryce Young on the shoulder. Bryce Young after practice talking about the respect for etiquette. Dave Canales liked the play. I'm paraphrasing, but similarly brought it up. You got to respect that red shirt. I love the fact that he hit the quarterback. We don't need this thing to be too clean. We need competition. We need personality. That is the Carolina Panthers. Whether it's Josh Norman and Cam Newton getting in a tussle, whether it's Cam Newton having issues out of college, other teams, they're not blacklisting him, but saying, this is a guy that we have some concerns about. The Panthers, that was their guy. They took him. That leap of faith gave this franchise a completely new identity. Not saying Princely Umanmielen is going to be on that level, that galactic level. But I do think that swagger, especially as an edge rusher or a wide receiver, you don't really have it with your quarterback. He's more of like a therapist. But those positions where that big personality thrives, there can be a me and team. There can be a me and team. And Princely Umanmielen is showing that could be good for the Carolina Panthers. Because you're going to want that on game day. Even Bryce Young recognizes that. They're going to want that on game day. As long as you don't get a flag. We have a lot to talk about. Josie Juel, that story blew my mind. We're going to go into that, but I do want to talk about this first, especially because, we're on the topic of guys with bend. We're on the topic about Princely Umanmielen. It's like every scout talks about this guy like he's looking at the young, beautiful woman at the bar. Here's even Coach Canales getting in on the fun. Dave, tell me more about what you like about new edge rusher Princely Umanmielen.
Just the great bend and flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
Just the great bend and flexibility.
Dave Canales gonna be Dave Canoodling tonight.
Just the great bend and flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
Just the great bend and flexibility.
It's unbelievable how they talk about this guy. I've never seen or heard a man objectified like Princely Umanmielen. You'd think they'd dim the lights after practice and Canales gets up on the bench and starts throwing it around himself, talking about
just the great bend and flexibility.
It's wild, and I'm bringing this up because I think this is a guy that is unique. I think Princely Umanmielen is in a position where he could contribute at a high level to this defense. Hey, good. He's a player that you're going to need to step up because I think he's your only edge rusher, truly, who can just pin his ears back and get after the passer. And I know he's a rookie. I know he's young, but DJ Wonnum, Patrick Jones especially, that's an edge setter, bigger guy. Do you have faith in him getting 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks? No. DJ Wonnum gave you a spark at the end of last year. He's got back issues. So who knows what Wonnum is? Maybe he can get shot out of a cannon and gives you 8 sacks. I think that's a stretch of the imagination. Nick Scorton, I think, is a thumper's thumper. This is your dad's edge rusher. And this Panthers edge room is well suited to take on a menu challenge at a fast food restaurant. This Panthers edge room would be awesome trying to take down the entire McDonald's menu. They would be great at that. But I don't know how great they're going to be at getting after the passer. They're big guys. Nick Scorton, heck, they're trying to get the guy to lose weight. He's 280 pounds out of college. He's a big guy. He's thick. Set the edge. Stop the run. Good. Good. You got to pay a premium for pass rushing. That's what New York's doing. Drafting Abdul Carter. Bang Brian Burns. That's what they're doing. Princely Umanmielen, I think, is the guy that, if you ask me who has the most upside, who do I think in this rotation, because that's what they're calling it. It's a rotation. Who in this rotation has the best chance of getting 12 sacks. I don't feel good about him getting 12 sacks, but I think Umanmielen has that skill set. And I think he has swagger too. Again, this guy came out of college talking about how he's going to make the Panthers break the bank. He's got confidence, and it's a little bit of arrogance. It's a little bit of arrogance, and that team needs this. That team needs this. Now, this is a rotation of pass rushers being led by A.C. Carter, who is the new outside linebackers coach, who last coached with who? Who, of course, his ex-girlfriend, Ejiro Evero. Ejiro Evero is the worst guy to have at a family party. He is the uncle that keeps bringing the ex-girlfriends back. It's like every Christmas, it's a new girl. He's brought 12, and they just keep coming back. They just keep coming through. You begin to forget their names. Oh, this is Christian. This is Ashawn. Yeah, say hi to Ashawn. You remember Ashawn? Yeah, the guy from 7 years ago that I was dating. And then 2 months later, he's back in there, and it's like, oh, you're gonna love Trevon. I actually scouted Trevon in Los Angeles, and we met at the nightclub, and I brought him back, and now he's here, and now he's my boyfriend. This is literally Ejiro Evero, just bringing in all his former acquaintances. It's unbelievable. It actually really is unbelievable. It's like, this should be an HR violation. It should be, what the Panthers defense does. It is all of Evero's guys. Something else has to be going on. I'm not saying it's Epstein Island, but there has to be something under those shoulder pads, if you know what I mean, at this point. But A.C. Carter, he is a younger guy, University of Kansas assistant just 4 years ago, has played, has coached at the pro level in Los Angeles, I believe. Mike Kaye wrote the article, New Panthers Assistant Coach Breaks Down Young Rotation of Pass Rushers. A.C. Carter is responsible for managing this group, developing the group, similar to Joe Gilbert with the offensive line in 2024 when he came over from Tampa. AC is the guy responsible for the development, and hopefully he's cooling with it, because we need this rotation to be strong. I do find it interesting that they're calling it a rotation. Like, remember all those people saying that Nick Scorton is the consensus starter? Week 1, this is the guy. Where are those people? Because Mike Kaye of The Observer, who I think has a lot of faith in Scorton. I think Mike is quoted saying he believes Scorton could be one of the best draft picks in recent history for the Panthers. He's the guy that could pop off. It's a rotation. They're calling it a rotation. He's not a day one starter. And that's important because Atlanta, some of these other teams that drafted edge rushers in 2025, the Panthers took T-Mac, of course. Those are guys that are going to come in the league day one starters. It's not a rotation. They're on some of those guys, you pay a premium for it. They're on the field, all downs. It's going to be a rotation. We'll see who's starting. But it could be Wanham and Patrick Jones, Wanham pending health. Pending health. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's see what the snap counts are. Now this, oh my gosh, for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons. The Panthers are also hoping that 2023 third-round pick DJ Johnson can take the next step in his development. We're still talking about this guy? He's still here? He's still here? How are we talking about this guy? How are we talking about DJ Johnson in freaking 2025? And I'm going to leave it at that. All right, we're going to go to break quick. I prepared this. This is an amazing... We can't do the show without you and sponsors, of course, so check this out. What could possibly help the Carolina Panthers wide receivers?
Glorilla!
Xavier Legette's going to catch everything. That's because he's got...
Glorilla Glue! It's just for you!
Sourced in Memphis, a premium adhesive that's made just for you.
It's so sticky.
Since 1996, Bank of America Stadium has no nuts, bolts, or screws. It's made out of Glorilla Glue.
Cheat.
Must be 18 years or older to buy Glorilla Glue. Do not operate a motor vehicle under the influence of Glorilla Glue. If you're stuck to your bed sheets because of Glorilla Glue, it's okay. It comes out easy in the wash. Look, it was that or OnlyFans. Don't judge me. I'm not throwing it around. I'm not looking like Dave Canales in the Panthers locker room talking about...
Just the great bend and flexibility.
I'm not on OnlyFans. I'm taking sponsorships that I need because it's you people and the sponsors. That's how I'm able to do this. There's no... Oh, wait. Glorilla Glue gave me a bunch of money. I had to do it. What? You want me living under an overpass? Come on. What's wrong with you? Well, I want to get to this last story. We'll have a little bit of fun here. But this is not a fun story at all. I take that back. Christian Rozeboom gets the green dot, and it was a very interesting press conference. It reminded me of like when a president passes away and the vice president takes over. And the vice president is like, dude, I screwed so many people over to get to this point, but it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right going into the Oval Office this way. And it's a coming of age moment. I'm not saying Christian Rozeboom's a sleazy politician, but he's getting the green dot, and it's for the wrong reasons. Josie Jewell, Panthers linebacker, who made plays down the stretch last year. Cowboy, Jewell. He looked amazing at times. I think he was a playmaker like any other on that Panthers defense. Turned the ball over, forced fumbles, had that big play against New York in Germany. Interception, fumble kind of play, like ripping the ball out of the guy's hands. He had a few good plays last season that kept you in games and allowed you to win games even. He was clutch. And I think he was a guy that we as fans were banking on. Now, as this story comes out, Josie Juel parts ways with the Panthers. The details here are a little bit, how would I put it, intricate. So let me just read them verbatim. So this is from Joe Purse, The Athletic. The two sides considered restructuring his deal, but ultimately the decision was to release Josey Jewell, the 30-year-old. It was a decision came to by the agent and the team. The move creates $3.4 million in salary cap space, and the Panthers will eat $4.3 million in dead cap. A lot moving there, but it sounds like this is a guy that on the surface does not feel comfortable playing football right now. I pray for his health, genuinely. This injury happened all the way back in December of 2024 against the Cardinals. He's still in concussion protocol. And neurological things are scary. We all remember Luke Kuechly. And it's scary that it's persisted this long. Seriously. So I don't have faith in him coming back. He does say he still wants to play with the team, and Dave Canales has affirmed that as well. Canales quoted saying, "I appreciate the upfront conversations between Jewell, the now former Panthers linebacker, and the team. And Jewell just wants to focus on his health and recovery. So we hope the best for him. But I think this is difficult for the Panthers. This is a tough situation because Christian Rozeboom's getting the green dot. That's your leader. That's your guy. Decent season last year. I think Jewell's better. I think Jewell ended the season last year in Arizona on a high note. Looked like a playmaker. That front seven, it lacks playmakers. Like, I think DB and Scorton, even right off the shelf, the rotation of guys I mentioned, they're good thumpers. Like, you have some good guys that can set the edge, and I don't think stopping the run is going to be a problem. I don't think the Panthers are going to give 3,000 yards in the ground. I think the Panthers are going to struggle against the pass. I think Pat Mahomes, or that's just an example, you have Lawrence week 1. These quarterbacks are going to come in. If I'm a coach game planning for the Panthers, I'm just throwing it all over the place because I don't have any faith in this Panthers front 7 getting after the quarterback. Juel, he didn't get a ton of sacks, but I do think he gives you a little bit of electricity back there. Whether it's turning the ball over, forcing a fumble, I think there's a little bit of that edge to him that you're not going to get with Rozeboom. And Trevin Wallace, a big question mark at this point. He was definitely a guy you're counting on down the stretch. The Panthers could sign another guy. But I do think one of the moving parts here is Shaq Thompson's in Buffalo. This is a guy that you let walk. And that's why I don't think the Panthers knew about this Josey Jewell thing, because I think if they did, they would have kept Shaq. I think if the Panthers really thought that Josie Juel would be in this situation in July going into training camp, I think they would have kept Shaq around. That's my personal belief. I think Jewell had to have known that he was dealing with these issues, but I think he got to training camp. Again, this is speculation. Probably it came down to putting the helmet on. It's like, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And this is a blind side. Now, the bright side of this is you have time to sign players. Diana Rossetti tweeted out the other day, exit out, whatever you say, saying that there is going to be players signed, obviously, at the end of training camp, all the way going up into the start of the regular season. Rosters are going to turn over. There's going to be opportunities for players to go elsewhere. And for example, there might be turnover in the Panthers wide receiver room. A guy like David Moore, who I can't see Canales giving a Game of Thrones ending to, could end up in Pittsburgh, who desperately needs a wide receiver. But similarly, other players could be on the move, and the Panthers could be on the prowl. Other players, I'm not saying you're going to get a linebacker. I think a good inside linebacker who's better than Trevin Wallace, who's better than Christian Rozeboom, who would start over those two guys, the likelihood of that being available, low. The likelihood of that being available and the Panthers deciding him, lower. But again, this begs into question. The Tone's been talking about this for like 10 years now. I've been on YouTube for like 2 months. I've been talking about this for 10 years. If you sign a guy like Jair Alexander, if you sign a guy like Julian Blackmon, obviously Alexander's on Baltimore now, but you get my point. If one of these guys had come to Carolina, and Julian Blackmon you can still go get, if you go and get a player like that, you have an insurance policy. Because if you can hold up on the back end, you can make up for not having a great pass rush. I don't think the run defense is as harmed as this. I think you've done enough. Bobby Brown's in. Turk Wharton, he's more of a pass rusher, but he can stop the run too. Ashawn Robinson maybe looks better this year. If he's still here, DB's back. Feel good about the run, but playmaking. He only had, I believe it was 14 turnovers. It was a very low amount of turnovers last year. Josey Jewell's a guy that can turn the ball over. If you can get that some other way, you do it. I think this is even more of a reason to do that in 2025. Go add someone else if you're Carolina. Bring it home. Dave Canales, he's talking about how this could be a season. Teams are scared to play the Carolina Panthers. Give them a reason to be scared to go against this defense. That's what we all want. That's what we all want. That is it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a special guest joining us next week. I am so happy to introduce him to you. And I almost feel like a bad parent on Christmas. I want to ruin the presents. I want to tell you who's coming on the show, but I can't. For serious security reasons. I cannot tell you who will be on the Tone next week.